And we're off.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the academic orientation presentation. My name is Mark Ashley, and I am the Registrar and Assistant Vice President for Student Information Management at Harvey-Mudd College.
And I'm Marianne de Laat. I am the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs, and I also teach in the Department of Humanities, Social Sciences, and the Arts.
Normally, we'd be presenting to you from Galileo Hall, and we would have the pleasure of seeing all 215 of your faces. But at this point, unfortunately, the view that you get is of our homes. Welcome to my kitchen.
Welcome to my home in the Netherlands. And you will not just see us, you may also see a tail waving by or a snout popping up because I'm sitting here with my 3 dogs who are clamoring to present as well.
So let me switch to presentation mode here. And we'll get started. So to give you an overview of what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to discuss the mission statement of the college and its relationship to the core, and we'll talk a bit about what the core curriculum at Mudd looks like. We'll talk about what we do in the Registrar's Office and the Registrar's Office team and the Academic Dean's team. And we'll talk about the nuts and bolts of getting classes. You're going to register for classes on either the 11th or the 12th of August. And we'll get to that in detail and give you a demonstration.
And we know that you're all clamoring to go. You're in the starting blocks to get your registration started and to get all the advice that you need. And before we do anything else, let me reassure you that there are lots of people who are standing by and who are at the ready to help you if you have any questions. And later on in this presentation, you will find some pointers as to where and how to find us. So let me first talk a little bit about the mission statement. You have probably seen this thing once or twice. Harvey-Mudd College seeks to educate engineers, scientists, and mathematicians well-versed in all of these areas and in the humanities, social sciences, and the arts, so that they may assume leadership in their fields with a clear understanding of the impact of their work on society. So maybe we can go to the next slide. Yes. The first part of the mission statement that you want to note is that we aim to educate you and make you well-versed in all of these areas, which means that you need to take courses in all of the departments that we have at Mudd. In the core program, which will take up much of the first 1.5 years of your education at Mudd, you will be taking courses in all of the disciplines and subjects that we have to offer. After you're done with the core, you will have a set of requirements in humanities, social sciences, and the arts. There's actually one HSA course, as we call them, that sits in the core. And these courses are delivered by the Department of Humanities, Social Sciences, and the Arts, and they are really meant to bring the mission home to all of you and to enable you to connect your science and engineering passions with a healthy sense of the society in which these disciplines live. The idea is also that you take a broad spectrum of different classes in the sciences, in STEM, in HSA, so that you can assume leadership in your fields, in your chosen fields, and so that you arrive at a very clear understanding of the impact of your work on the society in which it is embedded, but also the reverse, so that you understand how it is that societal concerns and societal questions really inform the kinds of questions that we can ask in STEM's fields. So that's what our mission statement is all about. Mark, the core.
So
or was it me?
This is actually you, but go for it.
It's me. Okay, so I'll continue. So your core program occupies, as I said, your first 1.5 years. It samples all of the disciplines at the college, and you really should think of this as building the foundation for anything you do in your chosen major later. Don't think of the core as a way to weed out certain students, because that is not at all the spirit in we teach in the core. We are really after finding ways to enable everybody, every single one of you, to succeed. That is our goal.
So let's talk briefly about the logistics of the core itself. So this first semester, the core will dominate your fall schedule. You will be enrolled in all of the core courses that are required of you. Our office will do that in advance of your actual registration time. This is an exception for, it's a COVID exception, one of many. We don't usually do this, but given the circumstances and the fact that everyone would be registering remotely rather than being in the same room and working with us together, we have decided that we are going to register you for the courses which you are required to take, and in certain cases, which ones you have placed into. These courses include Writing 1, aka Writ 1, Introduction to Academic Writing, which you will take either in the first half of the semester or the second half. Physics 23, Special Relativity, SpecRel, and again, a half course. It will be taken either in the first half or the second half. If you're in Writ 1 in the first half, you'll be in Physics 23 in the second half, or vice versa. Chemistry 23A, Chemistry in the Modern World. Computer Science 5, and there's a distinction here between CS5 Gold or CS5 Black. You have already taken, or many of you have taken, a placement diagnostic exam for computer science to gauge your preparation or how much experience you've had. There is no expectation that you've had any preparation in computer science. Everyone can start at ground zero and work their way up to the same level of understanding. The black section, gold and black, are the Harvey Mudd colors. That's the distinction why we use those terms. Black is the course for those who have had substantial experience in the past. Gold is the section for those who have had little or none. Either way, you will end up in the same place. And if you are thinking about computer science as a major, which there's no pressure for you to do yet by any means, either one of these will be a perfectly great preparation for that major. Math 19, Calculus, both single and multivariable calculus. Biology 23 or Chem 24. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. As an exception for the 2020-2021 academic year, you as an incoming class are not required to take both Biology 23 and Chemistry 24. They are both core laboratories, but you only need to complete one, whether you complete it in the fall or in the spring. We will place you into one based on your on-campus residence or not, in part, and you will see that reflected on your course schedule, but not yet. Finally, you will have the option of adding an elective, and I would refer you to the academic welcome letter that you received from Professor Wiederman, the core curriculum director, where we already see some language in there about your electivity options and what you may be able to take. For the next 2 semesters, core continues to be a central part of the curriculum. Spring of your first year will have biology, bio or chem lab. Again, not everyone will be able to take bio or chem lab in the fall, so some of you will take it in the spring. Chemistry 23B, the continuation of the chemistry course you began in the fall. HSA 10, the course which Professor Lott just mentioned. Math 73, which is linear algebra. Physics 24, which is mechanics. Also, there's the opportunity for an elective and hopefully physical education. There is a physical education requirement at the college. All students must complete 3 PE courses during their time at the college. In the fall of second year, sophomore year, most of you will take Engineering 79, the first time that engineering appears here in the core. Math 82, which is differential equations, Physics lab, which may be taken either in the fall or the spring, Physics 51, E&M, electricity and magnetism. And this is where you start to dip your toe more into major courses and additional electives. Marianne?
Yeah, so in the core, you have an opportunity to sample a lot of different things, or actually a requirement to sample a lot of different things. You sample all the majors before you declare a major. And as a first year student, you are not even allowed to declare a major yet, because we want you to be exposed to all the different options and possibilities before you make a definitive decision about what you're going to major in. You need all the pieces that you will be finding in the core in order to do your later work. And so take the core seriously, even though there will be certain topics that are not quite up your alley and certain things that you are really excited about. Odds are that you will probably be more proficient in certain things than in others. You should not worry about that too much. As long as you pass your core classes, you should be totally fine. And remember that what matters is that you get a certain mastery of the material, that you practice with the material, that you work with the materials. The grades do not define you, okay? We all have different kind of strengths and different weaknesses. There are lots of opportunities for help. There is student-run academic excellence programs. There is a writing center. There are academic deans. Of course, there are office hours that faculty run, and you should be availing yourself of all of these opportunities. And you will find that being at MUD, being in college, is a very different experience than learning in high school. And you will also find that you will not be at the top of your class all the time. You'll find that maybe sometimes it's difficult to ask for help. This is one of the very important things that you need to learn. You need to learn to recognize when it is that you are maybe missing some background, where you are having difficulties and you're struggling with the materials, and where maybe somebody else might be able to give you some guidance. So don't be shy about that. So I just mentioned that one of the support moments or opportunities is the academic dean's team. We support and work with first year students and their academic advisors in order to kind of make it as much as possible for you to have smooth sailing through, your 4 years at MUD. We monitor the progress of all students, and we serve as a resource for students who encounter difficulties in their coursework. We deal with overloads and course withdrawals when those are necessary, and we administer individual programs of study and off-campus majors. And so if you have any questions about these things, look them up on the website, try to kind of, find information, maybe from your faculty advisors. But once you are really kind of considering any of these options, then you should definitely speak to the academic deans. This is us. This is the academic dean's team. From left to right, you'll find Amy Bibbins, who is the Associate Dean for Academic Resources and Student Success. She does a lot of things related to potential pitfalls or academic difficulties that you might encounter. And so she runs study groups. She does workshops in study skills. She connects students to the resources that they might need for accessibility purposes and disability. She also interfaces between students and faculty if a student gets ill or has unforeseen circumstances that really impair their academic work. And so Amy is the person to go to for any of these things. Prof. Elizabeth Connolly is one of the instructors in the physics department. She is Assistant Dean for Academic Affairs, and she does a lot of work in helping students out when they need advice about maybe choosing a major or figuring out how to deal with difficulties again. She advises also about the trajectories, when to take which classes and things like that. And so for any of these kinds of questions, Liz is your go-to person. And she's also very deeply informed about the physics curriculum, the math curriculum. And so if you have specific questions about these things, then she will be the person who responds to your queries. I'm the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, and I interface between Academic Affairs and the Dean of Faculty Office, between our team and the rest of the faculty. I do all kinds of things to do also with personal individual student advising. And so you will find me in all kinds of, nooks and crannies of the college, really.
So the registrar and the registrar's office are responsible for maintaining the accuracy, integrity, and privacy of your academic records, not just while you're at the college, registered and currently attending, but basically forever. There's a permanence to your academic record. Talking about this was going to go down and your permanent record. You're not kidding. It actually is permanent. Our responsibility extends to course registration, and from a student perspective, transcripts, enrollment verifications, like good student discounts for auto insurance, that kind of thing. Course schedules, certifying your actual eligibility for graduation. We're the ones who end up putting the seal of approval on your transcript and on your degree completion before it goes on to the faculty and the Board of Trustees for the formal conferral and the pretty piece of paper that you will be getting as you walk across the stage at some point. We're also here to enforce academic policies. So when there's a rule or a regulation that is passed by the faculty, we're the ones who actually enact it. You'll see that we maintain the academic catalog, or just the catalog. It's not just the academic catalog. If you go to catalog.hmc.edu, you'll see all the rules pertaining to degree requirements and major requirements and so forth. I should note that the version that will apply to you will not be published until right before the start of the new semester. So if you were to go there prior to the end of August, you will see the rules that pertain to last year's incoming class. So.
And as you can tell from Mark and me doing this presentation together, the academic dean's team and the registrar work very, very closely together. Normally, when everybody's on campus, we kind of live across the street from each other. We walk into each other's offices all the time to get information, to share information. Our offices are really very closely tied together.
It's true.
Yeah.
Just so here, I don't have a pretty slide with faces. You only get my mug. But the other members of the team, Nabel, Sydney, and Kevin are listed here. You will likely meet them during the registration. You will meet some of them during the registration period. We'll talk about that in a little bit as we get to the discussion of the logistics, which starts now. We're going to talk here, breaking it down again, sort of a pre-agenda. Talk briefly about diagnostic and placement exams that you have largely completed. We'll talk about registration. We'll talk about grades, and we'll talk about advising, both during the registration process and afterward, including basically for years to come. So you have all already completed your chemistry and computer science self-assessments online. For those of you who are interested in studying language, you have completed those language placement exams as well. Those are starting to trickle in from the home colleges of those language programs. We don't have all of that information yet. We will distribute that as we can. And some of you who have had significant experience in mathematics have also completed some challenge exams. I should note that it is very much the exception for students to challenge an exam and be exempted from any core course. So if you see this up here, don't freak out. There is no expectation that anyone will have gotten ahead of you in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, those students who did place out of Math 19 received an email from Professor Dagan-Karp reminding them that it may not be a good idea to accept the waiver of the Math 19 course, and it might actually be a really great idea to take the class along with all of your colleagues and to really embed yourself in the MUD experience in full from day one. Some of you, oops, I jumped ahead there. Some of you may have already completed this. I'm actually not positive where we stand on the issue of the physics placement test. I know it needs to be completed prior to the start of classes, but I'm not sure if the physics department has reached out to you yet. There is some more detail about this in the academic welcome letter, which Professor Wiederman sent out a few weeks ago. It's a Google Doc. You can find it in your email. So, registering for classes. As I mentioned earlier, as an exception, we are adding all core courses to your schedule. So by the time you get to your registration appointment time, you will see all of the core already there. This will reflect placements and recommendations such as in CS, if you were recommended for CS5 Black, you will be added to CS5 Black. Registration appointments are scattered throughout August 11th and 12th. The times begin at 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, and 4, Claremont time. We realize that you're in all kinds of different time zones. And your registration window is 24 hours long. So you have if your time begins at 8 a.m., it goes till 8 a.m. the next day. Registration is done through self-service online at what is known as the portal. I will demonstrate this. You'll see it. And I'll send you an email as well soon with the details of what it is you need to do. Perms. I wanted to introduce this concept and this term briefly to you. I'm sure you'll hear from other students and you'll experience this as you go through the registration process. A perm is a request to add a class that you are otherwise unable to add. Now, there may be several reasons why a course may not be open to you. It could be full, like that the seats, all the seats are already taken. It may be that the course was full and has reopened, but other students have submitted perm requests asking to add the class. And even if somebody has dropped a class, we don't want you coming in and cutting in line in front of those who have already asked for permission. It could be that you don't meet the requirements. This could be something like sophomore Pomona literature majors only. Or it could be permission required, blanket, required for everyone. It could be that there are some seats set aside for the class for some population, but you're not in the population for whom this applies. So for example, if you're trying to add an economics course at Claremont McKenna, they will have seats set aside for incoming Claremont McKenna first year students. And so even though the course may look like it's open at first, it's not open to you. Instructors can manage this list. So anytime you submit a perm request, it goes to all of the instructors of a course. So there's a little box where you can type in language about why you might want to take a class. Be aware that it is going to all the professors. And
let me maybe add right away that it's usually to say, I want to take your class because it fits my schedule.
Always a great reason.
Yes.
Try to be informative in your request if you do request something. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, I realize, but I just wanted to introduce this concept to you. You'll get information via email from me or my team about this as we get closer to the start of classes. So let's just jump into it. Actually, let me go in and show you what the portal looks like. There's there's the link. If anyone wants to follow along, you're welcome to do so. Portal.hmc.edu. It's very exciting. And let me switch to the portal. Just as a gut check, Marianne, can you see the portal on the screen now?
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
PowerPoint
it's
is down.
working.
Great. So I have logged in already. When you log into the portal, you have to use the HMC credentials, the single sign-on, rapid identity, Duo. There are a number of technologies in place for multi-factor authentication. The registrar's office and the academic dean's team have absolutely no control over any of that stuff. If you have any difficulties getting into any HMC resources, whether that's your HMC Gmail or the portal or anything else, you need to refer your requests to the CIS help desk. That is the Computing and Information Services Office, and the help desk there is the IT support for the college. I'll put the address at the end of this presentation so you know. But let's assume that you got in without any issues. The portal homepage, well, first of all, allow me to apologize for the web design. There are definitely some shortcomings, shall we say, in terms of the style of our portal, but hopefully it will get it done for what it is you need to do. So what we will do when you are registering is you will go to the course registration tab. Before you take any action, you have to complete the registration agreement. This is something you have to do once per semester. This is a California law that we've recently had to take steps to follow. And so you have to acknowledge a statement regarding the Cal Grant statute, whether or not you are actually eligible for Cal Grants. So we'll submit that. At that point, then, you get to a search. You're looking at fall 2020. And to search for courses, I always recommend starting with the course area search. This is basically subjects and requirements rolled into one. It's not departments. So for example, there's a math department at Claremont McKenna, a math department at HMC, there's a math department at Scripps, etc. The portal's course search rolls up all of the undergraduate colleges in Claremont into one. So when you look for math, you're not just looking for math at MUD, you're looking for math everywhere. So let's, in fact, just as an example, let's search for all the math courses. And I like to show all instead of using paged results. And you can see all the different math courses that are offered here. Courses are numbered in a way where you have a course prefix, a number, a suffix indicating the college, and the section number. So this particular course, Math 131 HM01, is a MUD course because of the HM suffix, but you see here PO, that's Pomona, SC, Scripps, CM, Claremont McKenna, and PZ, Pitzer. So I got super lucky and got all 5 undergraduate colleges onto one screen. So working great. The course title, the number of seats that are occupied. So this mathematical analysis course has 23 out of 24 seats already occupied. It has been reopened, so that means it was closed before. Here it tells you who is teaching it, what time it takes place, which college or which campus, and then the location. Because of the unique circumstances of this fall semester, you will see online in many, almost all cases. Some colleges will specify that it's in the room web. You may also see online asynchronous without a time listed. That means that there will be videos and other forms of interaction with the faculty member that are not at a specifically scheduled time, but that will be done through Sakai and through other, that's Sakai you've already probably worked with, that's the online learning management system, and other means, whether that's using Canvas or Piazza or Gradescope. There's a number of different ways that our faculty and the faculty of all the Claremont colleges will interact with students in a way that is sometimes synchronous, sometimes asynchronous. If a course lists a room, it is in person. If you are studying remotely this semester, by default, you are not permitted to register for any courses that appear in person on the course schedule here. You may be able to work it out. Some faculty may be able to record their in-person lectures and allow you to watch them afterwards. That is something you need to do by arrangement with the instructor. And if that works for you, great. But it's your responsibility to check on that.
But to kind of add to that, first year courses do not, as a first semester student, you will not have to take recourse to that possibility, I don't think, because all your courses can be taken online. Is
So
that
the
correct?
only courses that a first year student can potentially face in that situation are electives. And so
Yeah.
you are not required to take an elective in your first semester. If you go back in the video, you'll see that we listed the first semester's courses, and all of the courses that are offered in the core are going to be available online with the exception of the labs. So the labs that we are offering will be in person, and there's therefore going to be preference for fall registration given to students who will be on campus to take fall labs in biology or chemistry. Everything else is online. To search for core courses, there's a specific course area that we've set up, which is HM Common Core. And so you can see, once it comes up, you can see all of the core courses. As you see, there are 2 biology lab sections. There's the Chem 23A we talked about briefly, Chem 24, CS5. CS5 section 1 is the gold section. CS5 section 2 is the black section. Black is limited to HMC students only. Off-campus students from the other colleges are able to register in limited numbers in the gold section. Anyway, this is all here. If you are going to add a course, let's say that this test student that I'm using wants to add Chemistry 23. It's fairly straightforward. This isn't exactly the most complicated course. Oh, nope. I'm not able to add that course. Oh, I have not met the prerequisites. Oh, because my my test student is not a first year student. So it tells me I'm not able to add it, and it gives me the opportunity to submit a perm. Anyway, if it were able to add it, it would do so. The other option here, if we look at the core courses, we search again. I strongly recommend, if you have any questions about a class, like I just tried adding this one here. If I had clicked on the detail, I would have seen that I am ineligible to register for this class. No, I have not met the course requirements. First year students only, and then that opportunity to submit a perm. On this section detail screen, there's also an add button that lets you add the course from here. So those are the 2 ways that you can add. You either add it from the search results or you add it from the section detail. If you have questions about what the requirements are for a course or any prerequisites, you would click on the button on the section detail here, and there you see the breakdown of what the restrictions are. So that's pretty much it. It's not that complicated as a system. It's just not very elegant either. You are able to take, for an elective, you are encouraged to consider the interdisciplinary studies course on global climate change. That's in the academic welcome letter that you received from Professor Wiederman. There's also a STEM and social justice course, which may be of interest. But those are only highlights. The set of choices that you have is actually not limited to just those courses. If you see a course when you're searching through the portal at another institution or at MUD that you are interested in, that fits your schedule, and that you meet the requirements for, you're welcome to add a course that would be of interest to you. We're not trying to restrict you just to a small handful of electives, but you don't have a lot of space in your schedule. So be cautious when thinking about electives, because core will always take precedence over electives. And we don't want you. Go ahead.
Can I add something? Yeah. So typically what students are looking for is a course that, as I kind of joked about before, fits their schedule. But you also want to take into account that a course requires homework. Other courses require quite a bit of homework. And so you should not only think about whether a course fits your daytime schedule, you should also think about the kind of work that a course brings with it and whether you have time in your kind of general overall schedule to do that well. And so that's something you should definitely consider if you think about adding an elective. Yes. You could also think about finding an HSA course. You have a set of HSA requirements, and it is not a bad idea to do one of these courses in your first semester, because it gets something off your plate. And so if you have time and opportunity to do something that is not STEM oriented, but that is really kind of in a different ballpark, so to speak, then it's not a bad idea to add an HSA course and not a technical course.
And I'll also stress that when the time comes for you to register during your 24-hour registration window, we will have a Zoom open. I'll mention this again, but we will have a Zoom open for you to come in and ask questions. I will share that with you before the actual registration time so that you have the link. But anyone who has questions and who needs advice, members of the academic dean's team and members of the registrar's office team will be online and available to answer your questions. There's not much you will actually need to do during registration because so much of your schedule will already be built for you. It's really a question of, A, do I want to add an elective? And if so, what do I want? And B, do I feel comfortable with the placement that I was assigned to? If, for example, you were assigned to CS5 Black, the version where you're expected to have had some experience prior to coming to HMC, and you don't feel comfortable with that, there is absolutely no harm and no shame in choosing to drop CS5 Black and add CS5 Gold instead. Again, CS5 Black is section 2, CS5 Gold is section 1. They don't say black or gold in the title. It's more of a colloquialism that we call them this way. Professor Kenning is teaching CS5 Black. Professor Dodds is teaching CS5 Gold. So during registration, you can make that switch, or you don't. You just leave it as is, or you can add an elective. Those are really your choices. It's not that high stakes. When August 17th rolls around, the add drop period will reopen for everyone in Claremont. On the 11th and the 12th, students in Claremont from all the undergraduate colleges will be registering, but only the incoming first-year students. So everyone else is going to be blocked out. So first-year students, incoming students, new transfer students, you have the time to yourself during those 2 days. Let's talk briefly about grading. In the first semester, first-year students are graded high pass, pass, and what used to be no credit, but what has been renamed not passing, NP. These courses these grades do not impact your GPA. All the core courses that you will be taking in the fall, if they are first semester core courses, are graded on this scale. If, for example, you placed out of Math 19 and you're taking Math 82 differential equations instead, or you're taking a math elective, Math 55, something like that. Again, no pressure, no expectation that you'd be doing that, but if you do it, that course will be letter graded. Only first year core courses, fall semester core courses, will be graded on the Frosch grading scale, which is the high pass, pass, not passing. Any HNC course numbered below 50 and any language course numbered below 50 taught at any college, and any courses that are on the approved first year elective list, which at this point is fairly short and it was included in the academic welcome letter, those courses will be graded on the Frosch grading type. PE courses, which may be available, we're still not entirely clear which ones will be available on campus or remote. There may be some do-it-yourself jogging classes and things like that that may be guided by an instructor who's supervising the pace with which you're actually participating in the athletic activity. Those are going to be graded on the pass, not passing grading scale. No high pass for PE courses. Everything else is letter graded. Marianne, are you on this one?
Yes, I think so. So during and after registration, you will have the opportunity to speak with people of the registrar's office, with the core curriculum director, Professor Wiederman, who is also a professor in the computer science department, and with the academic dean's team, myself, Dean Connolly, and Dean Bibbins. So that's, we have blocked out time. We will be available on Zoom. And if you have questions during your registration period, you should visit the Zoom room and we will talk with you. If you
can I add one thing just really quickly? The registration window is 24 hours long, but we will not be online for 24 hours.
No.
We will be online between 8 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon on the registration day, Claremont time.
Yes, which for me is of course different because I'm in the Netherlands right now, and so Claremont time doesn't mean anything for me. Anyway.
Well, you can be online in the middle of the night. That's fine.
Yes, exactly. So, but we'll talk with you when you need to talk. If you need to talk with us, you will find a moment where you can actually find one of us in the Zoom room. After registration, you will be talking with your first year advisors. Your first year advisors have been assigned to you. Each of us has about 3 or 4 first year students who we take under our wing. And so all the first year advisors are faculty in the various departments. They are allocated to you randomly. So even if you have mentioned on your application that you are thinking of majoring in math, you're not going to get a first year math faculty member as your first year advisor. You'll get somebody random. You'll have plenty of time to get to know faculty in the math department once you declare your major or even before then. The first year advisors will contact you. They know who you are. They know that they will take you under your wings. They will contact you in the week before classes start. And most likely, it depends a little bit on people's schedules, you will have a meeting with them, which is going to be a Zoom meeting in the week that classes start. Then after that, your first year advisor is really your go-to person for your academic questions, for the more kind of obvious academic questions throughout your core. And then in the spring, in addition to your first year advisor, you get an HSA advisor who guides you through the HSA requirements, which are not that complicated, but it requires a little bit of finessing to kind of navigate your way through them. And so therefore you have a special HSA advisor. Typically, that advisor is going to be the instructor of your HSA 10 critical inquiry class, which is a core class which you will be taking in the spring. So those are the things that are waiting for you in this year, the people you will be talking with. If you have more intricate questions or questions to do with academic issues, then of course you talk to the academic deans, and your academic deans are always your, your super advisors, I should say. And it might actually also be the case that your academic deans are going to be, that you're going to be pointed to the academic deans by your first year advisor or by your HSA advisor or by the instructor of a class. Yes. Questions?
So yes, if you have questions going forward here, as mentioned, the academic dean's team and the registrar's office team will be available during your registration windows from 8 to 5 Claremont time via Zoom. First year advisors after registration, as Prof. Delat just said. The registrar's office can be contacted via registrar@hmc.edu about any registration logistics questions you might have. The academic dean's team can be contacted there at the address academicdeans@g.hmc.edu about study skills, accessibility, or other academic difficulties. And as mentioned earlier, another callback, if the CIS, if you have any trouble with logins, passwords, technical support, please contact the CIS help desk. One thing just occurred to me, I'm sorry to do a little bit of a backup here. Let me just go back to the portal for a second and show you one thing, which is, you're probably wondering what your registration time is. So if you go to the course registration tab, and if you click add drop courses, it will tell you what the registration time is. In this particular case, for this test student, it's set up for today at 8 a.m. running through tomorrow at 8 a.m. But that will be where you see what time you register. You have all been cleared to register, so it will say advisor clearance to register, even though you haven't actually met with your advisor. We just went ahead and cleared you anyway. And you will actually, if it's in the system, which I believe it is, you will be able to see who your advisors are or who your advisor is. You'll only have one entry at this point for first year advisor. Our test student has been around a while and is a mathematical and computational biology major, naturally advised by me. So anyway, that's the shortcut there. Course registration, add drop. The portal has all sorts of other information that you will be invited to poke around and find here, so you can see your progress toward the degree. So this student here can see whether they're making any progress, how many credits they've earned. They're not getting too far, are they?
Not much.
That's not very good. This is where you would see your major GPA, things like that. And this is also where eventually you will want to either view your transcript, view the grades at the end of the fall semester. You'll be able to see that stuff here by looking at the online transcript or downloading a PDF thereof if you wanted to send that to someone unofficially. You can also order official transcripts, which get sent either through secure PDF or on paper through the US mail to whomever you specify by looking at the official transcript request here. This is also where you can see your bills. So if you go to your student account info, that's where you would see what you owe for the semester. That's not necessarily a joy, but this student, wow, this student hasn't had anything to pay since 2010. Impressive. Impressive. Anyway.
Maybe not your model.
I'm sure that this did not answer every question you have. I'm sure that there are questions that you have now that you've heard this. We will be around and available to help you. and we look forward to meeting you in person at some point. Until then, we will see you on Zoom, I'm sure.
Can't wait.
So I guess that's it for now. Good luck, stay safe, be healthy, and for those of you making the trip to Claremont, safe travels.
And do not stress over the registration thing. It's all gonna be okay.
Agreed.
Right?
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.